No wonder they don't have any projects. You know, they've been announcing things ever since Megxit and they haven't produced a single thing because they're busy suing everyone left, right, and center. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Welcome if you're new, and thank you for joining me, Pluto, the lawyer from the land down under, for a bit of a different video today. Rather than just focusing on the one topic, I have a very busy couple of months ahead of me, and I thought I'd just compile a number of topics in this one video. I'm probably going to be unavailable for most of next week and the remainder of this week because I'm a student and I work and I do YouTube. And if you tune into the podcast, you'd know that we're also going overseas. So yeah, a lot going on. You can consider this video as a highlight reel of what to expect on this channel for the next few months, if not the next year really, because some of these cases won't even really kick off until next year. On the docket today, firstly, Amber Heard gets rid of Elaine Bredehoft. Yep, it looks like it's a case of out with the old and in with the new. She has taken on a new team to appeal the verdict in the defamation case with her former husband, Johnny Depp. Replacing Elaine are David Axelrod and J. Ward Brown, who successfully defended the New York Times in Sarah Palin's defamation case against the publication. Now, while Elaine is gone, Ben Rottenborn, our favorite lawyer, is actually still on the team, which makes me think that Amber wasn't exactly happy with Elaine's performance. I've actually read some publications saying that Elaine quit, so I don't exactly know which version is true, but all that matters is she's no longer part of the team. It also looks like Amber's going to try to introduce a lot of new evidence, at least based on the statement that has been released by her spokesperson about this latest kind of passing on the baton, as Elaine Bredehoft described it. Amber's spokesperson states that a different court warrants different representation, particularly as so much new evidence is now coming to light. I don't know what new evidence they're talking about, of course. I mean, I've said this probably 1,000 times by now over the past 2 years. If Amber had more evidence, why haven't we seen it in publications, with the mainstream media, the way that she shared everything with People magazine and The Sun, amongst other publications over the past 6 years? And of course, not to mention the UK trial itself, where she won. She loves telling people she won that one. Just a friendly reminder that she was not the defendant in that case. She was merely a witness. Witnesses can't win. I've also received questions asking me whether Amber has paid the suspension bond, so the actual $10.35 million to stay execution of the judgment, but I have no news on that front. As far as I know, she hasn't, and neither has Johnny. By the way, who wants to place bets that the therapist notes that were written as far back as 2011 are part of this new evidence, if not the entirety of the new evidence? Because new evidence, of course, is evidence that was never introduced into trial. And by the way, as usual, I have to put out the disclaimer that I don't practice in the States. I'm an Australian lawyer. But in general, new evidence is rarely introduced in appeals. The appeals focus on everything that was available to the trial judge and the jury, the trier of fact, during the trial, which of course doesn't include new evidence. Now, there are exceptions. I'm not sure about Virginia, but generally, if the evidence didn't exist at the time, or the party that wishes to adduce it wasn't aware of its existence, it wasn't reasonable or practicable to get access to the evidence, etc., etc. Essentially, if it's in the interest of justice to do so, sometimes, rarely, I have to repeat, new or fresh evidence is admitted into an appeal. So unless this evidence is really compelling and evidence that she just didn't have access to during the trial or that she wasn't even aware of, I just don't see how anything's going to be allowed in. All right, from one problematic woman sued for defamation to another. Samantha Markle's defamation case against Meghan Markle is proceeding, and a trial date of October 2nd, 2023 has been set for that trial. You see what I mean when I said in the beginning, some of these cases won't even really kick off until over a year from now? It's a long wait, which is normal, by the way. Things are pretty backed up, especially since COVID. So the last I remember of this case is Meghan tried to have it dismissed. She failed in the first instance because Samantha amended her complaint, with the judge, as we just said, deciding to proceed to trial. Pending mediation, which the court has ordered both parties to participate in, discovery is meant to be completed by next May. Now, alternative dispute resolution, which mediation falls under, is a very common route that courts will order parties to consider and participate in if there is any chance that the issue will be resolved out of court. Because I believe I say this in almost every video, the overarching purpose of every court is the administration of justice in as efficient a manner as possible, and of course as fairly as possible. Efficiency dictates that if you can resolve this in any other way, if you can spare the court time and money and resources on this case so we can focus on other important cases, then you must try to do so. So mediation is essentially the lawyers will try to negotiate. They're going to try to come to terms, to agree on a set of terms that both parties are happy with. So it's a compromise, essentially, to avoid going to trial. Do I see Meghan doing this? Not necessarily. On the flip side, I remember reading this also in Tom Bower's book, Revenge. Meghan may not want to go all the way to trial, much in the same way that she didn't want to go to trial with Associated Newspapers. She's probably not gonna want to be cross-examined. I don't know how much she's hiding and how fragile her house of cards is when it comes to Samantha's claims. We all know that Meghan's entire life is based on lies, essentially. But in this instance, specifically when it comes to her sister, does she have cause for concern? Does she have anything that will motivate her to try to get this case finished without the risk of getting cross-examined? I think that will also dictate whether she will willingly participate in mediation and take it seriously and earnestly work towards getting this case finalized and over before trial. A successful mediation won't mean that Meghan admits to defaming Samantha. It's very similar to out-of-court settlements. Just because you settle out of court doesn't mean you're admitting guilt or liability. Now, despite it being set for trial, the judge still wants it to be as short and as inexpensive as possible, setting it down for 5 days only. What a huge departure from the 6 weeks that we had to sit through, all of us collectively as the entire globe, in Johnny's defamation case against Amber Heard. And his UK libel case was a lot longer than 5 days as well. By the way, I almost forgot. If you're wondering what the background of this case is, I've made 3 videos so far going through the actual complaint, and then the third video goes through Meghan's motion to dismiss. I do have to say, despite the fact that the motion to dismiss was not successful and the case will proceed pending mediation, I still think there are some holes, at least when it comes to the claims made in Finding Freedom. Samantha may have some success with the Oprah interview statements because they were uttered by Meghan herself. There is no doubting that. Whereas in Finding Freedom, the statements were all written by Omid Scobie and Carolyn Durand. So I still stand by my opinion that she should have sued Omid and Carolyn as well. But my concerns with Meghan's statements that were uttered in the Oprah interview that particularly relate to Samantha is that I think she's going to be able to argue that that was her subjective opinion, her experience of her childhood, namely that she was an only child. Again, I've already covered all of these arguments in a lot of detail, so I'll be linking the videos, if I remember, in the description box. Otherwise, like I said, you can just find them on my channel if you'd like to. At the end of the day, I have to say, the law is gray, and just because my professional opinion might differ from another lawyer's or from your own personal opinion, that doesn't mean I'm wrong and you're right, or I'm right and you're wrong. That's how the law is. You can argue it as best as possible, and that often dictates who the victor is in a courtroom. Reminder though, lying is not a crime, unless it's perjury, of course, and you can't sue someone for lying unless it is defamation of character. If she can link her losses and any reputational damage directly to Meghan's statements, then she has a chance, because that is defamation. I don't see how Meghan's going to rely on truth as a defense, but I think opinion is going to surface a lot, especially based on the motion to dismiss that I covered a few months ago. This one's a quick update because I don't have any documents to go through and flesh this topic out. Harry is suing for protection again, but this time he's naming the Metropolitan Police as a defendant in addition to the government, to the Home Office. And this is still about the same issue, the issue of security. I don't think the facts of his claim are changing much. It looks like this is just adding an additional defendant, but the basis of the entire claim remains the same, which is Rovek's decision to basically consider his situation on a case-by-case basis when it comes to providing him with security, because they withdrew, as we all know, his full-time security, I suppose, when he quit, essentially, as a working royal. But Harry, much like his wife, wants to have his cake and eat it too. And so he is pushing this fight even further. And I do wonder whether his rage and his wife's rage has been fueled by the Home Office's recent decision to keep Prince Andrew's security. So they haven't taken that off him, despite Prince Andrew stepping back as well. It's important to remember here, people, this woman put down the window, she rolled down the window of their car, which I'm assuming was bulletproof, so that people can photograph her and so that she can grin like the Cheshire Cat, despite allegedly being in fear for their lives whenever they're in the UK. The rest of the world is fine, by the way. It's just the UK. No wonder they don't have any projects. You know, they've been announcing things ever since Megxit and they haven't produced a single thing because they're busy suing everyone left, right, and center. Now, Harry has been successful so far in that the case will proceed to judicial review. That doesn't mean he's going to succeed and he's going to get security, but there is a chance now that a judge is going to review it. And I don't know, I've been reading lately that the courts in the UK are very biased towards the royal family, and that apparently any case in which a royal member is a party to usually ends up going in their favor. And finally for today, this isn't exactly as fresh as the rest of the topics in this video, but I missed it. Forgive me, July was a very busy month. I mean, who am I kidding? Every day is a very busy month for me. No, that wasn't a verbal typo. Every day is a very busy month because that's how many things I have to do in a day. But to the point, Harry has had another courtroom success, which you may or may not have heard of yet. On the 8th of July, of this year, of course, not that late, the High Court ruled that Harry's defamation claim against Associated Newspapers can proceed. So that doesn't mean, again, that he's gonna win the case, but on a preliminary level, the court found that the statements can be seen as defamatory. So now the defendant, Associated Newspapers, has to file a defense. This one is an interesting judgment. I think I can make an entire video out of this particular topic, and I don't want to cheat you and give you just tidbits here and there when I could flesh it out. So I'm gonna hold on to this one, and the plan is to make a video on this in the very near future. That's it for this video. I hope you found it informative, and as always, let me know what you think about all the cases, one of the cases, whichever one you're interested in. Like I said, treat this video as a highlight reel of what topics you can expect us to cover in the foreseeable future. Again, thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you to all my patrons and YouTube members for sponsoring this channel and helping us out. Your generosity is always very much appreciated. Take care, and I will see you in the next one, which may not be for a little bit because I will be very busy with work and just preparing to go overseas the next week or so, but I will be back, I promise. Probably in a different location. All right, everyone, take care. Bye-bye.